Hey, what's going on? Welcome to my shop. My name's Chris. Check this out. I've got this stack of boxes here. You may be wondering what they are. Well, come on in close and take a look at them. It's a bunch of cigar boxes. I bought these in 2014. Now, at the time of this video, it's the end of 2023. So back then, I had the idea to want to build a guitar, and I didn't have the wherewithal to be able to even purchase the parts for an acoustic guitar. So I decided to go ahead and try to build a cigar box guitar, and I thought that would get my feet wet and kind of scratch that itch. All right, so I went to a cigar store and I bought all these boxes. They had them just stacked and they let you buy them. So that's what I did. After that, I found out that you can buy kits, and I found a site called cbgiddy.com, and I bought a kit and I built this cigar box guitar. I've even got a 2-part video series on how I built it. It only took me a couple of days, and I had a lot of fun doing it, and it scratched that itch, okay? But, you know, fast forward to 2020, and I started building, finally, acoustic guitars. I've built 3 at this point. I'm working on my 4th one. And, you know, at this point in my life, you know, having a job and a family, building a guitar, an acoustic guitar, you know, being a complex project that it is a multi-month kind of thing. So to finish a guitar is an awesome feeling of fulfillment, and I've experienced that twice. I'm about to feel it on my 3rd one because I'm just about to wrap up that build. And but I need something on the side that I can do that's a little quicker, that can kind of give me that fulfillment from time to time. It's something that's quicker to knock out, something that can just help me in that area, because I need to feel that fulfillment a little more often than every few months, okay? So I'm planning on making a cigar box guitar with one of these boxes, okay? Now this one is just a poor, sad thing. It's missing the nut, it's missing the bridge. The kids have kind of broken it a little bit. I've got some broken sound hole covers here. But I've got some tuners I can use. I've got some corners, metal corners installed. I've got this little hinge on the back that I can use. So I'm going to take this thing apart to grab the things that I can use to put towards this cigar box guitar. And in addition, at the time I built this guitar, I had included the parts to be able to add a fretboard, a piezo pickup, and make it electric. And I chickened out on all that stuff, and I stopped after here, and I was just using a slide to play it, okay? But I want to add a fretboard to the next one. I want to install piezo pickup, make it electric. I think it'll be fun, and I think it's going to be nice side project for me, I guess. So the first cigar box I'm going to take is, of course, just going to be a 3-string cigar box guitar, and really it's going to be inspired by the likes of Puckett. If you've seen any of his videos online, I'll link to his channel. He's just got a very fun personality. His videos are fun to watch. He's a kind of fly by the seat of your pants kind of cigar box guitar builder. He just does a lot of fun builds, and it's just kind of like anything goes. No rules, except, you know, there are some kind of rules that he sticks to as far as you know, scale length, intonation, you know, the heel, the neck needs to be straight, those kind of things. Of course, he pays attention to that stuff. But I'm talking about design wise. There's no rules, so it's really fun to watch him build what he builds. And he's built over 400 cigar box guitars. So I'm taking some inspiration from him. I've been watching a lot of his videos, and I'm gonna do kind of what he does in some of his videos and try to incorporate some of those things. So let me show you the parts I got. Okay, I went to Lowe's and I picked up some material for the neck and for a fretboard. Okay, so let me go get that and I'll be right back. Here are the parts that I bought from Home Depot. It's just these 2 things. Okay, this is a piece of red oak. I guess it's red oak. It was in the hardwood section of Lowe's. They had poplar. I was going to get a poplar piece because I used poplar on my old one, but none of the poplar was straight, and it was all just flat sawn wood. So I was looking for something that had more vertical grain or approaching vertical grain, and I found this piece of oak. So it's going to be using, it's pretty straight, and if you look at the side, this side here is more kind of rift sawn. It's kind of diagonal grain, and on this side is moving towards flat sawn. So what I'm going to do is cut off this side and use this side for the neck. I only need about 1.5 inches. I should have enough material to do the neck and even have a heel glued to the back of it. So that's what I'm going to use for the neck. And then I've seen Puckett do this on his channel. He uses a Lowe's wooden ruler for the fretboard. So I thought that was kind of neat. Just kind of one of those, whatever you have, use it kind of things. And this is only like $1 or something. So I bought a couple of them. Of course, this will be cut shorter than this. It won't be this long. I thought that was a pretty neat idea, and it's 1/4 inch thick. It's about what you need for a fretboard on a cigar box guitar, from what I read, from what I see. So that's what I'm going to try. Okay, so I've got the neck, I've got the fretboard. Like I said, I've got the parts that are going to come off of this cigar box guitar that I'm going to reuse, and I found in all the boxes that I had here all of the other supplies that I had bought from CB Giddy at the time to be able to do the fretwork. I have a CD on how to do fretting, a fretting guide. Of course, I've done 3 acoustic guitar fretboards by now, so I think I have a little better idea how to do that than I did way back when I bought this stuff. I've got the instructions on how to make the kit that I did. So there may be some stuff in here that I'll follow as well. And I've got some frets. I've got the pickups and the jack and all that stuff. I've got this old business card from CB Giddy. And then I'm going to pick one of these boxes here. I was looking through some of them. These are just square. This third one here is too thin, I think, for a cigar box guitar. It's really thin. So I have these 2 here that are a little bit bigger, about the same dimension as the cigar box guitar kit that I made, just a little thicker. This one's kind of cool. I like the black one. It's even got a piece of veneer on the inside. Not sure what that's for, but there's a couple of boxes that have this in there. So instead of doing this kind of headstock where you just cut away some from the top of the neck, I'm planning on doing a scarf joint, okay, like a guitar. I've seen people do cigar box guitars with a scarf joint. Del Puckett has done some of those, so I'm going to do a scarf joint on mine just because I like the way it looks better. It's just a personal preference, really, that's all it is. And then I have this amp kit that I bought from CB Giddy at the same time I bought this kit, and I had intended to put this thing together so that I could plug the cigar box guitar in to be able to hear it. So I don't even know if they sell these anymore. Maybe they do, but still got all the parts in it. It's got the instructions, the electronics. It's got a speaker. It's got a little grate. I guess that'll go on in front of it. I'll cut out some of the wood. So I'll have to put this together at some point in this build, I guess, so that I can test out the electronics when I build this guitar. So anyway, pretty excited to get started. What's first? Well, I think I got to get the neck ready first. I need to go ahead and cut it out, get the scarf joint cut and glued and all that stuff. But I guess before I do that, I kind of need to figure out what scale length I'm going to use and that sort of thing. So let's take a box and let's put it up to this piece of wood and let's try to figure that out. Okay, looking at the cigar box guitar that I made previously, you can see it was about a 25-inch scale.
Let me go ahead and save you from the grief of having to listen to me talk to myself about the scale length, how long I need to cut the wood, blah, 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 this and that. So let's go ahead and get straight to it, all right?
So I think my first step here is to decide that yes, I'm going to do a 23-inch scale, and I'm not going to do a through neck. It's going to terminate inside the box. The saddle's going to be somewhere just south of the middle of the box, and that'll let me be able to do a scarf joint and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to cut.
Blah, blah, blah. Here I am deciding that I want to cut the neck wider than the fretboard and then trim down to the fretboard later. Let's go.
So first step, cut a 34-inch piece and then rip it to just over 1.5 inches. All right, there's the piece cut out, and here's the leftover piece. So what I'm thinking is, when I do the scarf joint, I'll probably want to use this to add wings to the headstock to make it a little wider. Instead of leaving it this thin, I may widen it just a little bit, just to try to put some kind of design in it maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too complicated. For the scarf joint, I'm thinking if I start just over 3 inches from the end, once I cut the scarf out, looking at it, you're thinking that I'm cutting the scarf joint at 3 inches and I'm gonna have this tiny 3-inch headstock, but that's not really the case, because once I cut this off, I'm gonna trace that line. This piece is gonna get flipped over and I'm gonna have this big long headstock. So that'll give me plenty of room to be able to cut it off where I want to and then measure for the nut down to here. I drew that line. I'm just doing 15 degrees because that's what I'm doing on my guitars. Just thinking a cigar box guitar would be the same maybe. So let me take this to the bandsaw and cut that. if I take this piece off that I just cut and I flip it over and glue it to the back of this, see, there's the scarf joint. And notice, I only measured, 3 inches up. But when I turn that around and glue it down, suddenly I've got a almost 6-inch long headstock. So that'll give me plenty of room to be able to shave this down and then decide where I want to cut this off, the kind of design I want to do. But anyway, I've got plenty of room here and plenty of room down towards the end to be able to cut that off to go inside the cigar box. What a lot of people do, I've seen people do this, is they'll put the two pieces together like this and then plane that surface, the whole surface together, and make it smooth all the way down. But my thinking is that if I'm joining this piece to the bottom here, then I'm just going to worry about this face, get it smooth, glue it on, and then once that's glued, then I'll flatten this face down. And I'm not really at this point caring if the headstock gets any thinner, because I want to add a veneer to it anyway, because I'm planning on doing a nut instead of like a 0 fret or something. So I want to have a head plate so the nut can butt up to it. So let me go ahead and get my plane out and get this surfaced. What I usually do is take just a flat rule, steel rule, and that'll give it something to sit on so it doesn't just fall in between the jaws of the vise. Remember the first guitar I did this the same way, but I didn't have the ruler there and it kept sliding down. I was trying to hold it up with one hand, so I figured out that eventually just putting something under there that can handle the pressure helps out a lot. Got a little gouge there I gotta get past. I guess I do kind of want to make sure I'm keeping to the 15-degree. That'll be good enough. Before I glue it, what I'm going to do is take a sandpaper block and just make sure this is flat, and then make sure this is perfectly flat, so that when I glue them up, it'll match up pretty good. And it's okay that this is ragged right here, because I'm going to end up sanding the back of this anyway, and it's going to blend in to the rest of the neck. I'm just kind of rocking back and forth just to make sure I'm not going too hard on one spot and causing some kind of slope. So I'll check this, I'll hold it up to the light, make sure there's no light underneath this ruler anywhere. And I'm going to do the same thing to this piece, and then I'll glue it up. At this point, I'm just treating this thing like it's a cigar neck. No, not a cigar neck, a guitar neck. I've got a piece of wood clamped here and a piece of wood clamped here. So that way, whenever I squeeze these two pieces together, they won't want to slide open. And I'm not too concerned about, putting clamping pressure on this wood, so I'm going to be resurfacing the top and the bottom anyway. If a clamp leaves a mark, it doesn't really matter too much. So where's my glue? Paper towel or something. Here we go. Oh, if I could open this glue bottle. Okay, there we go. Things are happening. That'll do for now. Alright, it's the next day. I'm going to go ahead and take these clamps off and see what it looks like. The next thing I need to do, just thinking out loud because I'm not really sure what to do, I'm just kind of going through the steps in my head of what I think I need to do. So I know I need to determine where the nut's at because I need to put wings on the sides of the fretboard. So in order to know how far back I can glue the wings onto, I need to know where the nut's at. So I'm going to shave this down first, figure out where the nut's going to be at exactly. And then I need to shave down the edges here, or not shave them, but just kind of like get rid of this glue line and just make sure it's perfectly smooth so that I can glue the wings on. I'm going to use this cutoff piece. Now if you look at the cutoff piece, you'll see that this is how I got cut off. You can see the end of this wood, it's flat sawn right now. But if I turn it this way, now it's quarter sawn, up and down. So I want to make this surface the glue surface to the edge of the fretboard. That'll help to keep it more stable instead of gluing it on like this, where it's flat sawn. I'm going to glue it on like this. So that means I'll have to trim this down a little bit in thickness. I need to know how much of this to cut off though. That's why I need to know where the nut's at so I can know how long to cut them. And I can't do that until I know where the nut's at. So what I'm going to do is exactly what I said. Shave this down, trim this down, and glue the wings on. So let's go ahead and take care of that. The last clip, I didn't realize that I wasn't recording, but you saw the result. I drew a square pencil line here and just went until I was even all the way across, right up to the pencil line. I'm turning it on in now and just take a little bit off here. That line right there, I'm going to measure 5 millimeters. I'm guessing I'll do about a 5 millimeter thick nut, and then from that line I can figure out where the scale length will end at and figure out where I can cut this off. I'm just going to glue this full width on here. It'll be 8 millimeters wide, which is too wide, but at least leave me some extra room to do what I want to do with the shape of the headstock, which at this point I still don't know what I want to do. So I guess I'll go ahead and cut them about to maybe right there. About 135 millimeters. We'll go do that on the bandsaw real quick. Put some real squeeze on it, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. What am I even talking about? What kind of crazy monologue do I have going on right now with myself alone in my garage? And you, the viewer. Here we go. That should do it. Got this piece of black limba. It's actually a head plate for a guitar. I'm not using it, so I decided to go ahead and put it on as a head plate. So I got the top flush, these two wings flush with the top, and I've got this kind of just clamped in place, and I'm going to drill some locating pins so that it will be easier to glue this thing on. So let me go ahead and glue the locating pins and get this thing glued on, just like I said I was going to do. The exact same thing I just said I was going to do. I just repeated it. So let's do it. I'll put some toothpicks through here, and when I go to glue this thing on, and then it'll hold it in place for me while I get clamps on. So I don't have to worry about it slipping and sliding everywhere. Okay, this is probably overkill, but you know, I'm used to building acoustic guitars, and the more clamps the better, just to make sure everything's good. At least that's how I feel about it. Alright, I think that'll do. Got a mouse trap. I'm thinking I should have brought the wings farther down, because I still don't know how I'm going to shape this headstock. I have no idea. But I've got a mark right here where the transition happens from the surface of the neck to the headstock. And I'll draw a line. I'm just going to try to just eye it and cut straight down. The shadows are ridiculous. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. I cannot see. Look at that. And that's where the nut's going to go. Right up against there. So now I know where my nut's going to be. And I know my nut's going to be about 5 millimeters. And I've got a 5 millimeter spacer here. So I'm just going to set that right there and then make a mark. And that should be my nut And that's where I can measure for my scale length from that line. I was going to go ahead and cut out the shape of the headstock, but I figured I probably need to wait until I get the back smooth. So I want to go ahead and get the headstock to thickness first before I do the shape. And I wasn't sure how thick I could go, so I measured my cigar box guitar and it comes out to about just shy of 12 millimeters. So I'm going to just go to 12 millimeters and that should be okay, I guess. Maybe I'll stop at 13 because it looks like I could maybe be a little thicker. Looks like the tuners are kind of sticking out quite a bit out of the top of the headstock, so I could probably go a little bit thicker. So maybe I'll go 14 millimeters and try that. I think that's what I'll do. So I've got my oscillating spindle sander set up, and I've got a little fence that I made, and I'm just going to run this through the spindle sander, kind of like a vertical drum sander, I guess. What I've done is I've taken my nut blank, I put it there, I butt this roll up to it, and I clamped it on. So my scale length is 23 inches, which is right there. Let's say that I cut this neck off at, say, 26 inches. The scale length's there, so if I close the box, my saddle will be about here. So just shy of the middle of the box, which I think may be a good position. I don't want to go too close to the end because the hinge from that other cigar box is about 20 millimeters. So if I go too far back, then I won't have room to go from the hinge where the strings come out up to the saddle. But I don't want to go too far up. So about here looks okay. So that means I would cut the neck off at 26. I need to glue on a heel underneath it. Then I can start working on the box and getting it notched out. I think. So I still have some decisions to make about the headstock, stuff like that. So next step is to glue on a heel. So I need to cut out some stock, and I think I'm going to come out maybe an inch out of the box and then taper into the neck. So I need about a 11-inch heel. I'm going to go ahead and call that the end of part one. Got the neck made, headstock made, scarf joint, head plate thinned out. I've determined where the nut is. I've determined where I'm going to cut it off at the end. So I got to put a heel. I'm going to glue a heel on the back of this between now and the next video. The main reason I'm stopping though is because I don't have parts that I need. They're in the mail coming from cbgiddy.com. I ordered a 23-inch scale template so that I could just simply mark out the frets instead of having to use a ruler and trying to be precise and maybe getting the spacing off here and there. I thought it would be easier just to go ahead and get a template, and I've got some strings coming and other things I need and parts for maybe another project. Okay, I don't know what that was, but anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.